Hello, Daisy Cakes. This is Daisy X Machina, the drag queen detective who investigates all things speculative in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And this is a Get Ready With Me where I get into drag to film a video later today. How is everyone's reading going? And I'll discuss what happened, why I haven't been around for several weeks. Um, but let's say hello to Lynette is here. Yay. Lori is here. Frank is here. Okay, thank you guys so much for coming. I'm always paranoid that no one will show up after I've been gone for a while. Um, okay, real quick. I was a lot sicker than I thought I was. Like, what was it, 3 weeks ago? I was saying I was convinced I had a pinched nerve. But then when my doctor saw me, he said, you need to go to the ER. And I had something called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a autoimmune disorder where your body attacks your nerve endings. And that's why I couldn't feel my hands or my feet were getting numb. And it's actually pretty serious because I ended up being in the hospital for 5 days. So, yikes. So anyway, we also have John Crow and Mooney is here. Yay. Thank you so much for coming. And, oh, you know what? I want to know about the House of Frank. Well, you just started it. Because, yeah, I'm really curious about these other bindery books. So, anyway, yeah, sorry. Thank you, Frank and Lynette. And Lori, it really is a horrible, horrible illness that I was lucky. I wasn't lucky. For someone who got Guillain-Barré, I was lucky that it didn't progress like up my arms and my legs. And if it reaches your torso, your lungs and your heart can be compromised. About 5% of people that get it die. Anyway, so when you're really sick like that, it's really hard to read. I couldn't really get into reading. So I was trying to get some like comfort books. So the two books I did read were The Seventh Bride by T. Kingfisher, which was great. It's a novella. And I picked up the new not new, but I picked up another Wayward Children's book by Shannon McGuire, Down Among the Sticks and Bones. And I was a little disappointed because it was a prequel to the first book. And it starred two characters that I knew what was going to happen to them in the first book. You know, something happens to them. To the prequel, I knew where they were headed, which is why I don't like prequels that often. So those are my two sort of comfort books. But I've also been reading these horror books I've been getting for Shelve It or Shove It. I don't know why I've picked up 3 horrors in a row. The Queen, which I don't recommend, not my favorite book. It was about this very strange billionaire who had a traumatic experience with insects trying to build a better insect to take over the world. I didn't like it. Thrum, which had the cover with the woman with the really spooky eyes. That was okay. I didn't mind that book. And then the one I have not finished yet is the one by Brahm, author I've never read before. I've heard several people say he's really good, but it's The Evil in Me with the book cover that looks like an album cover. And I really liked the second half, but the whole setup took the first half of the book, and I thought the first half was kind of slow. But now that I've gotten into the once it goes to the halfway point, which is a big ask, but because the main character isn't that likable. But once you get to the halfway point, it really becomes a pretty decent read. Um, anyway, oh, thank you, Frank. Third, I might not be back on YouTube. Well, it was tough going. My hands and my feet are still numb. My wife's not long out of the hospital, so I will not be here for long. Okay, thank you for joining us, Frank or John. Um, I really enjoyed my course in college. Yay! Okay, so here we go. Reading Mayfly by C.J. Lead. It's American Psycho for girls. Also finished a book on the history of the Louvre, which is a lot older than I knew it was. But not been reading. Well, hey, John, we understand. Barely read this week. Read a book really good called Hose Boy. Oh, good, Lynette. Yeah, I finished watching it. It's a very dry. I mean, I personally like the 1960 movie. I think I like that better because I'm not sure that it really needed to be what was it, a 6-8 part miniseries. Um, for that story, I thought the 90-minute movie was fine, and I really like who's that actor? George Saunders. But for an updated miniseries, and they updated the story a little bit for modern times. Um, I enjoyed the miniseries a lot, but it is dry. Yeah, she's out of there. It's reading a book about The Rock. I have not heard of Earth Abides. Lynette also watched the first episode of Earth Abides. I don't know anything about that. A book about Islamic art. I believe it was some produced in the BBC or something, but I believe AMC is the American distributor, I believe. I can't swear to that. Okay, guys, I need to get started on some type of look. And my idea was to go dark today. Because thankfully I had like a bunch of videos sort of in the backlog that I could release while I was sick. But now I don't have any. So I don't have anything to release this week. And I need to do part 10 of my top 100 fantasy books. So, and I was thinking about this dark Evil Queen look. So let's start mapping it out. I've not been to the Louvre. If I had, I think I would have visualized things. I've been to the Louvre. Me and my husband did our big European adventure. And Paris was one of our stops. And the Louvre is an excellent art museum, of course. The Mona Lisa, that's where it's shown at. It's kind of a small picture. I thought it was this like big portrait, but it's not that big. And but if you're ever in the U.S., I still stand by this. One of the best art museum, if you're into art museum experiences, are the Smithsonian in Washington D.C., which are free. And there's several buildings, with different themes. In fact, I can't much. Okay, Frank. Dark is a gothic and spooky. Yeah, maybe a little dark and spooky. It is a Stan in Australia. To the Louvre or to Smithsonian? Sorry, Lori. Okay, guys. Well, I don't want to be, I don't know. Let's just map this out in black and see where we go. And this is black powder. Yeah, I thought when I was sick, I thought, oh, I could get a lot of reading and writing done. But it's weird when you're like in pain and I guess on drugs and aren't feeling well. It's just easier just to watch TV. You know? And I've found I can't get into audiobooks as much as other people, although I have listened to some good audiobooks. But I think I much prefer radio plays. Um, which I know aren't for everyone because they have the background music and the sound effects and well, I've listened to a few good Doctor Who radio plays from my video on Sapphire and Steel, the BBC show from the 70s. I've heard people say that they have some good radio plays. Anyway, neither here nor there. My problem with audiobooks is sometimes my mind wanders and then I lose track and then I have to rewind. Earth Abides is a 1949 book about a man trying to rebuild a community after a plague. It is sort of based on the story of Ishi, who was the last wild Indian. Huh. George R. Stewart, it is the only sci-fi book he ever wrote. Interesting. At least they doped you up. Yeah, it was a great dope because since I was having what the syndrome was that I had was my autoimmune system strips the myelin sheath off of my nerve cells. So the pain isn't treated with opioids. the pain is treated with a painkiller to dull the nerves. So it wasn't an opioid, which I guess are more fun. He was a Native American who walked out of the wilderness in 1911. He and a few of his tribes hid from the white men for decades. Wow. I listened to someone writing. Theodore Kroeber wrote a book about him. Hope I never have to go to audio. Well, I believe I'm out of the woods. I've had a treatment called IVIG, which is this intravenous feed they gave me. 5 treatments over 5 days. That's why I was 5 days in the hospital. But I think once you're cured, you're cured, but they recommend not having vaccines. So anyway, who knows? So do I want to do gray or, I think I'm just going to do, I think I'm just going to do brown. But sometimes you can have a relapse. At least I know what to look for, but or what it feels like. But I was convinced, so convinced I had a pinched nerve in my back. So I haven't really gone out because it hurts to walk. But I do kind of want to see Wicked, the movie, because I've read the book, I've seen the play. I prefer audio because I get less migraines, and it's my arthritis is bad. I have trouble holding books. Well, that's why the ebook I have. You know, I love the buttons on the ebook to turn the pages instead of the swiping, but they're just like, it's really hard to find an ebook with buttons. Well, thank you, John. The other side effect of this disease was, it's not really a disease, but this episode was, it's fatigue. You get fatigued a lot. Yeah, I have medical coverage through work, and it covered this, but I've had to pay because I have a high deductible. I had to pay a lot this year. But it's arthritis and migraines. Arthritis for more than 30 years. Yikes. Oh gosh, yeah, and I honestly don't think they're going to get rid of Obamacare because I think Trump was burned by it. By the last time he was elected, I just don't think he wants to deal with it. What's I doing? Wait. Oh, shoot. Okay, so let's do. Whatever I'm doing, it's not blending. Problem with health coverage in the U.S. really came to the forefront in the last 3 days. What did I miss? What happened in the last 3 days? Yeah, migraine. I've heard that. I've learned the best ways to avoid migraine triggers. Okay, I'm going to. I shouldn't have done this. I know I had this. I had so much blood taken, but one of the blood tests showed that I have like a high factor for rheumatoid arthritis, even though I don't believe I have it. Okie doke. Oh, of course, Lynette, the murder of the United Healthcare CEO. Yeah, and they're like the worst. I mean, the murder is the worst, but the for health as healthcare goes, the United Healthcare is like one of the worst insurance companies out there. Triggers are reading too long, strong smells such as paints. Days. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's all over the place. My wife bought new perfume and came into the bedroom almost instant pain. Oh no. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm regretting doing this so much black, but maybe I'll do a red eye, a red cut crease. It's been so long since I've done makeup, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Okay. I have a Blue Cross Blue Shield, that one. Excuse me. Okay. See, we're talking about perfumes. I kind of like perfumes or colognes sometimes, but it's not something I wear. I think about wearing on a regular basis. But I just recently read an article that there are some like health effects, um, not just like triggers for migraines, but actual adverse health um, consequences for people that wear cologne a lot or perfume a lot. Okay, anyway. Visit your wife in the hospital. I've been looking after her since she got home. Oh, I thought she was coming home today. They will catch the guy. Lynette probably already know who he is. Actually, I hear they're having a lot of trouble figuring out who he is, even though they have that picture of his face from Starbucks and they have some DNA. But if he's not in the system, they can't do a DNA match. And I don't know. Yeah, they have his DNA, I believe, from a water bottle or something, but he has to be in the system. If he's not in the system, people are hoping that. I think it's crazy to actually make him a hero. I think that's absurd, even if you don't like United Healthcare. They got the Golden State Killer. Can also trigger asthma. Oh no. Yeah, Mexico has extradition treaty. Oh, okay. Glad she's sleeping, John. Okay. So, so I know you have to run when she wakes up. That's okay. So if we're gonna do red, are we gonna do red? Yeah. I think. Should I just do solid red? I was just going to think of maybe I should do an ombre. Maybe I'll just do solid red. Spic is everywhere. Well, if the DNA isn't in the system, how does it help? I mean, you might be right. I just don't understand. Okay. I think some videos I may do is to, what with my top, now that my top 100s will be done, is just to do one with all 100 authors in one video. I think that would be kind of cool just to have it in one place, even though I know it wouldn't be of interest to anyone who's already seen the individual videos. Okay, so thought I had a red shimmer in this, but I don't. So, okay, I'm going to do this loose powder. Okay. Oh, they check DNAs with relatives that are in the system. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if it depends if its relatives might not be in the system. Took my fingerprints. You know, in I think it was after the that mortgage meltdown in the early aughts or whenever it was. There's a lot of pressure to make notaries more not efficient, but more accurate, because some people were like forging notary people, whatever. The at least in California, the new notary system was your fingerprints. Because I remember to get a loan, I had to put my fingerprint down to get a home loan. But I don't think I had to do that in the 90s when I got a mortgage for a condo. Okay, so going to see if I had this another shimmer to sort of, no, that's not going to work. Okay. You right away, that's not going to work. Okay. How about chunky glitter? Oh, yes, Ancestry.com, 23andMe, they have records. Yeah, I did. I should have thought of that. Because I have Ancestry.com. So I guess they could find me by my DNA. But that's how I also found my half-sister, Jackie. Oops. I don't know how I feel about that now that I'm thinking about it more. If that's an invasion of privacy, using your DNA to for criminal records. Although I don't know the fine print, turn this off, of what I signed up for on Ancestry.com. Mormon Church supposed to be making a packet because they own Ancestry.com. They can just take DNA even if you have never committed a crime now. They're also being used to find out the identity of Jane and John Doe's. Oh. Records going back. Actually, I know a person in my writing group is a direct descendant of one of the wives of Joseph Smith. They could test bones of the dead to determine by the isotopes where they grew up. Wow, it's so amazing. Read books rather than watch crime shows. Watched a documentary about the burials around Stonehenge, and they found that it was international even in Neolithic times. Keep finding out new stuff about Stonehenge. I believe they used to test where Otzi, the man found in the glacier, was from. It's also fascinating. Okay, guys. I need to move on to the black chroma cake. I should watch more documentaries. Since I love fiction so much, I rarely put on a documentary. But talking about crime shows or true crime, the BBC, or if you subscribe to BritBox, Lynette, I think you did subscribe and watched Vera, which is a fantastic procedural crime show. But I don't know what it is about the UK that they just love their crime shows. I guess we do in the US too. I just don't feel like it's as prevalent. Okay. Yeah, I remember watching a couple more of those BritBox crime shows, but I can't. I don't remember the names. There was one called The Tower. Is that the one I'm thinking of? No, it was something else. But it was like a DCI, whoever. But it had like this speculative element to it, but it didn't really get into it that much. The speculative part, which I was disappointed with. Another type of show that I like sometimes are lawyer shows. It's kind of like crime shows, but it's not always murders or the real juicy thing, but like going after big pharma, that type of thing. And Kathy Bates has a new one out called Matlock, which is takes the name from the old Matlock show, but it has nothing to do with that Matlock. But it has some really good twists to it. So if you like lawyer shows or if you like Kathy Bates, highly recommend. Okay. Okay. Love Vera. Now reading the books. I haven't read the books. Son of Sam guy in New York City back in the 70s would have been caught right away by now. I remember during a drought found a skeleton in reservoir in Oregon. After a long investigation, they determined the body was in Ainu from northern Japan from the 9th century. Shetland series. I read the books first, didn't like the series, so only watched. Yeah, I didn't like the series Shetland, so I think I tried one episode. Long way for Anu to travel. In Lake Mead in Vegas, they found a bunch of remains. Yeah, because here in Vegas, that's where I live, they were founded by the mob, and I think there were a few people with cement galoshes that were found or that were dumped in Lake Mead. But now during the drought, the river's getting the lake's getting lower and lower, so they're finding these bodies. Have the terror on your TBR. The BBC Love Bodies, which is about the same dead body turning up in different time. Oh! I think I saw that one. Bates was genius in this. I love Kathy Bates. Up through the corrals to the Aleutians and along the coast. Murders in a high water. Yeah, that's what the tower's about. But there's another show that had some type of speculative twist to it, and all I can remember is the DCI was a black woman, but it wasn't the tower anyway. Bugsy Siegel also taken out by the mob. Have you read High Rise by Ballard about high rise building in which people go mad? I don't recall that. The Russians own the Kurils now. Okay. I need to brush off this bake. Well, it's kind of spooky. Have a good week. Hope to see you then. Thank you, John. Thank you for joining us. Okay, I need to do an under eye. I love the TV Person of Interest, in which cameras traced everything in New York. At least my city isn't totally covered by them. Okay. Oh, I don't know about this look. I walk by one house regularly, and it warns me that I'm being recorded. Oh, I have that. That's here too. I've seen that, but it's because they don't have their security camera. Because I have one on my front porch, but you can set it so you can um, define where the perimeter stops at your property line. Let's say rather than the sidewalk where people walk. So they just don't know how to use their security system. Guess they can't call people a suspect anymore, so it's a person of interest. I bet there's a difference between a suspect and a person of interest. The house, it's same thing here. Okay. So I think that's where I'm going to leave the eyes. Some really weird and scary things have been recorded on those door cams. Yeah, sometimes I'll get like an alert like late at night, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? And it's a moth that comes up close to the camera. It looks like a big giant creature, but okay, so going to do the lips. There's this weird anthology show on, I think it's BreadBox, called Inside Number 9. And they're like half-hour anthology shows. I think there's two main actors they always use and some regulars, but they aren't usually speculative, but they're really weird. I haven't seen that many of the shows, and it's not like my favorite, but it's just a interesting concept. Okay. Maybe I should do black lipstick. I finished my 2024 reading challenge and posted my 2025 challenge on library thing. So all set for next year's reading. Yay. Don't forget BritBox, but the Brits have always done the crime really well. Oh, the Father Brown shows. Anyone remember? And they have it on BritBox. The what's it called? The Derek Jacobi Cadfael, the monk. There used to be a oh, my mind's going blank. Knight Templar or something. He was on the Crusades, a knight in the Crusades, who retired to become a monk, and then solves murders. Okay, do I want black lipstick? No, I think I just want red. Okay. Thank you, Frank. Likes lipstick. Sounds fascinating. Catfail. Prefer the books to the show. Once again, I usually stick to speculative fiction, but this isn't Catfail, but there was one interesting series that I've read a couple books of, and it's about a eunuch during the Egyptian times. And they're kind of like mysteries, I think. Was Peters the author? God, these are really famous too. My mind's just. I want to say the author was Peters. Okay. It's taught by nuns. My husband was too. He's Catholic in the Philippines. Sister Boniface. I never really liked that series, but it's cute concept, but there was one series that I kind of liked. I don't think it lasted very long, but it starred it's another BritBox. It starred the woman who played Hyacinth, Keeping Up Appearances. But then she played a more serious, I'm doing quotes here, detective, like a woman who decides to become a detective late in life, but her protege was one of the hobbits in Lord of the Rings, was Pippin, I think. I mean, the actor who played Pippin. Really, I wish I remembered that series with the eunuch from ancient Egypt. Because they're pretty good books, I thought. No, eunuchs have been really powerful in the past. You don't have to think about sex. That's it. Thank you. Okay, Mary, not Pippin. Hetty Wainthrope. Yeah, I like that series. Okay, so I think I'm done with makeup. Can I do? Seeing if I could do a little bit of a red blush. I just don't want it to get. Too crazy. Okay. Hetty is short for Esther. Oh, I have ChatGPT. Let me see if it actually works. What are the books set in ancient Egypt featuring mysteries with a eunuch? Can't spell eunuch. No. Was it Wilbur Smith? No. Okay, that didn't help. Okay, list 10 books of fiction set in ancient Egypt about a eunuch. Mika Watari, Margaret George. I think it might be this Wilbur Smith. Yeah, River God. Yeah, that's it. They might not have been mysteries. Anyway, if you're interested. Okay, I put on some jewelry, then we're done. And a wig, of course. And I got this. This is a poinsettia, so this wig is kind of festive, but this is Christmas, or the holiday season, I should say. Oh, I have to do a little reaching for my gloves. Excuse me. There we go. And Unix had longer lifespans. Interesting. Earrings look a little like the Walmart logo. Well, they're supposed to be daisies. Okay, guys, I think this is the final look. Thank you for joining me. I'm always afraid when I take some time off that no one will show up, so I'm so happy you guys have popped in, and especially Lynette and Frank, and if anyone else is here, thank you everyone who has showed up. I'm going to try to be back next week. Today I'm going to film part 10 of the fantasy, top 100 fantasy authors, which I hopefully will release this week. And then I want to do some videos with all the 100 together. And I haven't really thought that far ahead. But yeah, that's it. Oh, and I may do, I probably won't, because I don't feel that ambitious, but I need to do the first Shelve It or Shove It for January that has not been filmed. So anyway, thank you once again. I should be here next week. As usual, may all the books you read be blessed.